Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Law Excellence IAS. Let us do the editorial analysis for today, that is 2nd January 2023. The article for discussion is India's Dilemmas in an Asian Century. This word, 21st century, is an Asian century. It was given by Deng Xiaoping when he met Rajiv Gandhi in China. First article for discussion, India's Dilemmas in an Asian Century. So let us try to understand this word Asian century. This was given by Deng Xiaoping when he met Rajiv Gandhi. So the 21st century is going to be the century of India and China. So that is how he projected it as. Now in this case, obviously the politics are shifting towards Asia, and this is also popularly described as Indo-Pacific. So it means Asia-Pacific or Indo-Pacific is becoming the theatre of action for geopolitics. Added to that, the world, especially West, its influence is decreasing. The rise of China and its influence, this is changing the geopolitics permanently. In this scenario, we saw that Russia-Ukraine war. After that, an axis is developed which consists of Russia, China. And after that, we also have an axis which is surrounding United States of America. And the untoward consequences, especially economic sanctions on Russia, has made Russia very unstable. So this is often described as weaponization of trade, weaponization of globalization. So in the case of Australia, when Australia spoke against the China with regard to COVID-19, so China has used its economic might to control Australia. In this scenario, this economic weaponization of trade and globalization is being questioned these days. The major reasons for this are trade. The dollar is a trading currency. Added to that, there are trade instruments, especially payment systems like SWIFT. These two are dominated by the West. That's where Russia and China are trying to develop alternate systems to the SWIFT. Second part is, what are Delhi's dilemmas in this? One is, Delhi's foreign policy by and large is status quoist. How much they talk about the change? Ultimately, we talk about consensual approach towards global politics. Any change has to be slow, peaceful, and consensual. That is what we believe in. So that's why India do not look at drastic and dramatic changes. In this context, how India is going to fit itself in the fast changing geopolitics is a dilemma. The second is, we want multipolarity, but we don't know how to handle multipolarity with the instability. If tomorrow multipolarity is going to come, definitely there will be some instability surrounding it. Let's take another scenario. If there is an accommodation between China and United States of America, saying that you don't interfere in my affairs, I don't interfere with your affairs, then how India's situation will be? In this scenario, China, if it is going to accommodate itself with USA or vice versa, the two countries that are going to be affected are one Russia, the other one is India. So these are the issues which we need to understand critically to develop our foreign policy. Next, eyes and noise. This is about Election Commission of India. You know that Election Commission of India has announced a remote voting system or remote voting machines for migrant workers. So, Election Commission of India is also demonstrating a prototype that can be used to vote in how many constituencies? 72 constituencies. Let's take a migrant worker belonging to Bihar or UP or Assam. If he is there in Hyderabad, he can get registered in Hyderabad as a migrant worker, and this person will have a vote in a particular polling booth in Hyderabad. But the vote will be polled to that constituency where he belongs to in UP, Madhya Pradesh, or whatever the native place he is coming from. So this is what we called as the new electronic voting machine, which gives remote facilities. The second part is, what are the advantages of this? Obviously, as migrant workers, they cannot go to their native places just for voting. This facility automatically allows them to use their right. That leads to increased voter participation. And second, there is something called NRI voting rights. As of now, India is not able to provide for that. For long time, it is in discussion. This is also expected to increase voting rights to NRIs in future. The next challenge is what they are there. Trust is an important factor. Impartiality of Election Commission of India is an important factor. This has to be uncompromised. In this scenario, EVMs themselves are facing a doubtful scenario. Many of the people are not expressing confidence on EVMs. If we move towards higher technology, where remote voting machines are being introduced, will it bring in the trust of the people on elections and election process is the biggest question. Second, there are many problems related to definitions. What is a territoriality and who is a resident, who is a migrant? These definitions has to be very clear because this is a fast changing scenario. A migrant can become a resident, and resident when he goes to another place he can again become a migrant. So that's why maintaining a clear database and also defining this terminology is going to be very challenging. What is our conclusion? Yes, any move towards ensuring the rights of the people has to be encouraged, but we need to have sufficient safeguards. That is the point we need to remember. Bolsonaro's legacy will take time to undo. You know, Lula da Silva, he won the presidential elections in Brazil, and what we can remember him for, Bolsa Familia. The cash transfer scheme which we see everywhere, the foundations exist in Bolsa Familia scheme. When he was the president before, the poverty has decreased, inequalities have come down, but he was able to achieve this on high commodity prices. Especially Brazil is mineral exporting country. The benefits out of it were used for welfare measures. After that, Bolsonaro has come up. Mr. Bolsonaro is a rightist, conservative, and then is also a racist and sexist. That's how we can describe him as. In this, the Brazil has divided like never before. Economically also it has gone down. The sovereign bonds of Brazil were declared as trash. In this scenario, the low or worse economic conditions, and the second is lack of majority in Senate and then House of Deputies. Added to that, whatever the divides and inequalities created during Bolsonaro era, all these will act as a challenge to Lula da Silva to bring back the welfarism which he was expecting to achieve. Bad loans share at a decadal low in India's banks. You know, NPAs are being declared as decreased. They are close to 5% now. In this scenario, what are the reasons for this? One thing is a writing off of loans. So many of the loans are being removed from the bank books. Close to 10 lakh crore rupees loans are being removed from the bank books. And second is credit. Previously, big players were given credit, industry was given credit. Today, credit has shifted to the retailers. And profitability today of the Indian banks also has increased because the return on investment is increasing slowly. India and Australia to sign a migration and mobility agreement. So Austria. So this migration and mobility agreement, it is going to ease the problem of illegal migrants. It allows countries to deport them back to India. This is one of the major hurdles to sign India-European Union Free Trade Agreement. As this has been closed now, we expect the trade agreements to move forward. Has India tided over the problem of bad loans? So today, NPAs have declined to 5.9%. How we have tackled the NPAs? The first is writing off of the bad loans, removing them from the records of the banks. 10 lakh crore rupees are being removed. Second, there is a bad bank which is proposed and about to be created. That is called National Asset Reconstruction Company. And evergreening of loans is one of the reasons for increasing NPAs. This evergreening of loans is also been done. An asset quality review was done regularly, and bad assets are been well classified, and a definitive action which was taken on them. So this strategy is called as recognition of NPAs, trying to find a way for one-time settlements, which is called resolution, and then providing capital to the banks to start their operations, and bringing reforms in the banks so that this problem of NPAs do not come. This is called 4R strategy: recognition, resolution, recapitalization and reform. Next, the advent of absolute chaos in NGERA. What is this absolute? This app, which is brought in under NMMA, National Mobile Monitoring Authority, or National Mobile Monitoring Software, we call it as. According to this, where NREGA work is going on, attendance has to be taken. There has to be geotagging of the place, and attendance has to be taken in the morning and also in the afternoon. Previously, work outcome target is given to the workers. It means that you can go at any time and you have to work, but you need to achieve the outcomes. But now, time, fixed amount of the time you have to spend at the workplace. Obviously, this is going to lose the flexibility. And to take this attendance, NREGA mates are being created. So these people was not given any mobile phone, they shall own the mobile phone. That's why the lack of mobile phone is major hindrance to them. And second is they were not provided sufficient training on taking the attendance. Today, no attendance is being taken on the site. That is the reason why there is loss of power, especially to these workers. It means if it is registered in the application or not, they do not know. They get to know only when they get the money. If they do not get the money in spite of working, that makes people to lose trust on this software. And finally, social audit kind of systems, it brings citizen participation and citizen-centric accountability. Government could have gone for this social audit rather than going for these technocratic solutions. And final article is danger of deep fakes. What are deep fakes? These are digital media which involves video, audio or pictures that are edited and manipulated by using artificial intelligence. It means they resemble to the original content in such a way it is impossible to differentiate them. In this scenario, what are the problems? One is liars dividend, we call it as. It means a person who made certain comments are treated or behaved in a particular way. He can simply declare that it's a deep fake. He can take the advantage of this. And second is the social harmony, etc. They may get lost. The reason is a person who did not do any comment, he can be victimized, saying that he has done something. In this case, raising the conflicts between the communities, regions, and raising the vulnerabilities for conflict is very easy. And second, how to fight this? What is the most important thing to fight this? Media literacy is the most important thing to fight this. These are the articles for today. Thank you very much.